I've never been one to believe in ghosts, not until that fateful night when I became a witness to something so terrifying, it still sends shivers down my spine. It was the kind of horror story you'd only expect to find in the darkest corners of your imagination. Hollow Manor had always stood there, perched atop the hill on the outskirts of town, like a dark sentinel brooding over the landscape. Its windows were shattered, its walls were cracked, and its history was etched in blood and whispers. The night I speak of was unseasonably cold and moonless. A chill ran down my spine as I approached the decrepit manor, carrying nothing but a dim flashlight and the weight of curiosity that had gripped me for years. The stories about Hollow Manor were the stuff of legend, tales of inexplicable noises, eerie apparitions, and a malevolent presence that never slept. I reached the mansion's grand entrance, its heavy oak doors seemingly beckoning me to cross the threshold. Hesitation clawed at me, but something pushed me forward. Perhaps a desire to prove that the supernatural was mere nonsense. The first floor was a labyrinth of dilapidated rooms, their former opulence now nothing but crumbling wallpaper and shattered furniture. I moved deeper, each creak of the floorboards echoing through the eerie silence. That's when I heard it, a faint whisper, like the distant cry of a lost soul. My flashlight flickered, then died. Panic set in, but I refused to give in to the darkness. As I ascended a winding staircase, I glimpsed a flicker of movement in the corner of my eye. My heart pounded, and I trained my flashlight toward the source. There, on the landing above, stood a woman in a tattered wedding gown. Her eyes were hollow, her face a mask of sorrow. Before I could react, she vanished into thin air, leaving only a faint scent of roses. I pressed on, fear gnawing at my insides. The corridor on the second floor was long and narrow, lined with portraits of grim-faced ancestors. As I moved closer, the portraits came to life, their eyes following my every step. I stumbled backward and fled, but the corridor seemed to stretch endlessly. In desperation, I turned a corner and found myself in a room that defied reason. The walls bled, the ceiling wept, and the floor writhed with snakes made of shadows. I was trapped in a room born of nightmares. Then the voices started, a cacophony of torment and despair. They echoed in my head, driving me to the brink of madness. I couldn't escape, couldn't shut them out. I fell to my knees, covering my ears, praying for it to end. But then, a voice cut through the chaos, whispering a name. The name of the woman in the wedding gown. I repeated it, my voice shaking. The room trembled, and suddenly I was outside Hollow Manor, sprawled on the ground, gasping for breath. The horror had passed, but the memory still haunts me. I've become a reluctant believer in the supernatural, for I know that what I witnessed in Hollow Manor was all too real. It was a place where the line between the living and the dead blurred, and where the horrors of the past still clung to the present. I can only hope that no one else is foolish enough to venture into that accursed place, for once you become a witness to the terrors of Hollow Manor, you carry its darkness with you, always.